Hello and greetings, and the dog is here to join me, aren't you, Trinity? Oh, look at her. Oh, hot today. Hot, hot, hot. Barely made 5 miles today. Ooh. But I have to get my exercise and have to exercise that dog because this breed they suggest about 2 hours worth of exercise a day, which means I get 2 hours of exercise a day too. So I didn't work today, not a single assignment popped up. Did a bit of laundry, watched YouTube, watched a little bit of Hulu, tried logging in on the phones to do telephonic translations. Zilch and phone calls came through. I do have to make a correction about yesterday's video. I mentioned about the cases in Dallas, and I said it was like over 250. It was just under 250 cases that we had in Dallas. But today, we broke the record again. I think it was 238 new cases of COVID-19. So our numbers just keep going up, as well as Texas had the biggest increase so far. It worries me because we're not getting this under control. And I have a friend that works at a hospital, and he was saying their admissions into the emergency room have gone up, and as well as ICU beds have been going up. And it's just, now I'm getting a little bit concerned now that the numbers are accelerating. So I don't know what we're going to do. I have no idea what we're going to do because, the governor seems to be adamant that we're going to be open, but he has not indicated what measures he's going to take as the numbers start to go through the roof. So it's like, it's Darwinian, what he's putting us through. I'm going to do everything possible to maintain myself safe and my mom safe, but at the same time, it is very distressing to know that we're having this big jump. When we were averaging 100 cases, 90 to 100 cases per day, now the last few days is like over 200 cases per day. That's a substantial jump. Yet people are still so adamant that this is going to blow over. They have really drunken the Kool-Aid that Trump's been serving. They really have. Everybody's screaming for their liberty. There's certain requirements to go into business. Like, people are objecting to having to wear masks into business. Now, I have to say, most people are wearing masks in my neighborhood, but I keep hearing in other areas of town, people are just refusing to do it. And that's the most selfish thing, because the whole idea is you're not going to infect someone. So I finally put a posting on somebody who was going on and on and on about it on Facebook. It was like an acquaintance. And I finally said, okay, so you really don't think it's such a big deal if some certain amount of people die? So name, 2 people in your family that you're okay if they die from this disease. Name 2 people in your family that you'd be okay if they died from this disease. They didn't respond. Because people aren't thinking of it on a personal basis. They're just so insular with their own lives that they don't understand the consequences of others. But I thought it was interesting. They never replied. They replied to everybody else's comments that was calling them out on that. But they just, completely ignored mine, because that's the truth. You've got to think. If you're so anti-mask, name 2 people in your family that you're willing to sacrifice to this disease. People astound me at the level of selfishness. And it angers me because I care, and other people really do not care about the well-being of others. It is absolutely sad. But I guess this is why so many people are, we had people who resisted these closures, and on Easter Sunday, a lot of people still went to church, and here it is 2 weeks later, 2 weeks plus, and numbers are rising. There was people who were disobeying the rules, and the numbers are rising. And it's interesting because I keep reading reports about people who were in those groups that are coming down well with it. And, I would say, well, that's fine. They're coming down well with it. They're paying the price. The fact is, it overloads the medical system. And in Texas and Dallas in particular, they end up a lot of times at Parkland Hospital, which is our big county hospital, that is funded by us, the taxpayers. So I am funding through my property taxes, because they're pretty high. I pay a lot in property taxes for where I live. I'm funding your stupidity because it's such a drain on the hospital system. And so not only is it affecting your health and the fact that you might have spread it to somebody else, endangering other people's lives, but if you end up hospitalized, these hospitals are subsidized by the government that receives money from me and us, the taxpayers. So we're paying for your stupidity. Not fair. And yeah, that's my bit of my rant, but it does really bother me. I obviously watched the news today, so I was just like dismayed. And the person that got shot because they were enforcing the store's policies that you couldn't go into the store without a mask, and somebody then pulled a gun on them and killed them. People have become insane. And then all of this paranoia about it being, a designer virus. People just lack science education in this country. If they bothered to learn about viruses, truly learn about viruses. I'm not a doctor, but I did have to take some courses back in college, maybe because of my major, but some of the courses I was taking for my anthropology degree crossed over into the pre-med program because I was studying medical anthropology. So I had to learn about anatomy, diseases, the body, viruses, you name it. So maybe I learned a little bit more about how all of this operates and functions and how viruses replicate in RNA and DNA. But it just... People have a bit of knowledge of science, but they don't know enough to know when they're wrong or what their limits are. So they just extrapolate all of this. And it's dismaying to see, because I was watching some of the news programs from yesterday, like the Sunday morning news shows, I was watching them today, that we have these conspiracy theories of these viruses and designers and that this and that the administration is promoting. Every major scientist is saying this is not feasible or possible, but they're going, we know, but we're not going to release the information because we just know. Where's the proof? And they can't, they were questioned on it, and none of them, they just said, we know, but we're keeping it secret. And it's like, the amount of misinformation that this administration is promoting. And it's promoting all these conspiracy theories, which are so ridiculous. So absolutely ridiculous, because they just do not make sense. If this virus wasn't such a big deal, then why do more than 3 million people on the globe have confirmed cases of it? Why over 250,000 people have died from this? I mean, this is a new disease that is wiping out a bunch of people. But people think it's blown out of proportion. It's like... now they're saying that there might be like 3,000 deaths in the United States and that this is a good number. 9/11 happened and the world changed because like more than 2,000 people died. Now we're saying 3,000 deaths per day is an acceptable amount. This disconnect about it's just mind-blowing. It bothers me. We really need to get rid of this president and his administration. They are gone nuts. And it's like, part of it I think is they've insulated themselves. Everybody's like a supporter of Trump that's with him. Nobody's sitting there going, hey, wait a minute, you need to think of this differently. They need to stand, he needs to have people that will be the devil's advocate in his meetings, but it doesn't seem to happen. And so everything just spins into this weird conspiracy theories that are being promoted nonstop. On another note, I have a theater company, MBS Productions, and we've been dark, needless to say, with all of this. I was actually planning on having a bit more of a season, and but obviously this did not happen. But I'm trying to figure out what to do for next season. My seasons usually start in October and run through the following summer. So I submitted requests for dates at end of October, and then I do my annual Christmas show. And then I also requested a date in February for shows, but it's kind of like, is it going to happen? Is it not? My Christmas show is known globally because it actually won a national award that then got international press. And it's people nickname it the Burlesque Nutcracker, but it's the full title is the Beulaville Baptist Booklet presents a Burlesque Nutcracker. And the website, it's not updated at the moment, but it's burlesquenutcracker.com if you want to go visit it. But so I requested the dates that for the show in December, and it'll be a 4-weekend run, but with COVID-19. Now, over the weekend, I did have to say I did plot out how we can stage it so that none of us actors are within 6 feet. The audience, of course, if we have to limit the audience capacity, we'll have to do that. The only trick is the dance sequences, how we would do those, because needless to say, in dance, you do get close to each other. But as a choreographer, I think I can figure it out. So I can tell you that show will happen if we're allowed to open up as a theater to do that. Hopefully by then, they'll let us operate as long as we maintain social distancing for the audience members in the theater. I mean, they're doing it at restaurants. I can't imagine why we couldn't be able to do it in a theater if we space out people correctly. It will not have a sold out house, obviously, but it'll be, sold out for the whatever percentage we're allowed to let in. But I am planning on doing that show as of right now. I'm hoping to be able to do the October show also, but again, that will depend on where we are with the disease. So my life is on hold on that. So I'm sitting here going, I hope it opens, or I hope things get well enough or better enough by that point that we can operate it. Because this show has been running 15 years. And if I don't get to do it, it'll be like, oh, that'd be sad. And I think by that point, people will want to laugh because it's a comedy. And people will definitely want to do it. So cross your fingers for me that this is going to work out and we'll be able to do the Christmas show. And of course, the thing is, I update that show every year to talk about whatever has been happening socially or politically. And so it gets an update every year, a little bit in the dialogue and the script, just to keep the show relevant. So I will have things to say about COVID-19. It's hard to think of making funny statements about it, but I have a friend, her name is Holly Schmitz, and she has been posting the funniest jokes and funniest memes that make not fun of COVID-19, but makes you appreciate that even in this darkest of times, there can still be humor. So anyway, and I enjoy her posts, but I've been also thinking about some of the craziness that we've all been going through that could apply into funny dialogue for the show. And if we are all still having to wear masks at that point in time, I've got it figured out how that would happen in the show. So Beulaville is dealing with the COVID-19 crisis. Oh, I'm looking forward to that. Anyway, that is my news for today. Please subscribe. If you see more than 2 of these videos, just go ahead and subscribe. It helps me out. It really does. And you're supporting your local artist. So please go ahead, give it a like, subscribe. If you ring the bell, then you'll get notified if I have new updates. But just subscribe. I'd like to see those numbers go up. Anyway, have a great day. Stay safe and good evening. Or if you see this during the day, good morning, good afternoon. And I will sign off.